across the globe, in famous cities and exotic resorts. There are restaurants that most of us can only dream of visiting. We'll glimpse inside these exclusive spaces. We'll get a taste of the lifestyle that goes with them. And we'll meet the men and women who have made them what they are. This time,
when you bring that big trolley to the room, the people are, wow, look at that.
Los vinos se beben, se huelen, se escuchan, pero también se pueden sentir.
Once you've finished your meal and you think you're stuffed, we'll give you just a little bit more.
in Catalonia, northeast Spain, less than 100 miles from Barcelona, are the cobbled streets of the ancient city of Girona, peppered with grand churches and medieval squares. But in the city's sleepy suburbs, hidden behind fortress-like walls, is the unlikely location for a modernist food revolution.
Ellos dicen, los hermanos Roca dicen que yo soy el alquimista porque, bueno, de mí esperan que transforme el plomo en oro.
Twice voted the best restaurant in the world,
Estamos llenos hasta ahora 11 meses vista.
this is el Celler De Can Roca.
No, I'm afraid the restaurant is fully booked in the next 11 months.
No, I'm sorry. We're booked up. We have nothing available now. I'm so sorry.
Luxury restaurants, high-end restaurants, are like any part of fashion. They're made desirable by the more people who desire them. I actually think the business of booking in advance is part of it. The anticipation is part of the experience of the meal. Ultimately, this can mean that you put your name on a waiting list.
No em sap greu, el restaurant és ple durant els propers 11 mesos.
As soon as there's an opening, we will contact you. Thank you so much for the call. Have a nice day.
Going to any of these restaurants is often a once-in-a-lifetime experience, not only for people who have enough money to pay for it, but to be the select few who can actually get a reservation. Once you're in, to be one of those select few who have that opportunity is sort of winning already.
This most sought-after restaurant is owned and run by three brothers, born and bred in Girona. The eldest, Joan, takes care of the kitchen. Middle brother Josep is wine guru and front of house, whilst Jordi, the youngest of the three, works his magic in the pastry section.
Nos entendemos muy bien en el tipo de restaurante que queremos tener y que es un restaurante comprometido con la creatividad, pero quizá, y más importante, que cada uno de los tres hemos tenido nuestro propio protagonismo y también nuestros reconocimientos individuales.
The Roca brothers share the highest culinary ambitions.
Nos gusta cambiar cosas y no estar contentos nunca con lo que hacemos, sino intentar mejorar, y probablemente esto es lo que nos ha llevado hasta este punto.
Their careers began just down the road, in the family bar restaurant.
Joan con 9 años empieza a trabajar y yo con 12 empiezo a ponerme en la barra.
Nuestra madre ha sido probablemente el eje conductor de esa complicidad fraternal.
Lo aprendimos de nuestros padres. Nuestros padres eran felices haciendo esto. Pensemos que podíamos dedicarnos también a esto y eso es lo que hicimos.
The brothers first opened the restaurant in 1986, right next to their parents' bar. In those days, there was no problem getting a table.
Cuando iniciamos no venía nadie, era como hacer la ruta del salmón.
Entonces lo primero que hacíamos era eso, era reproducir cocina catalana, una mezcla de cocina académica de la escuela y cocina francesa de la Nouvelle Cuisine de aquella época. Esos fueron nuestros inicios. Poco a poco fuimos imponiendo nuestra propia personalidad y también esa cocina evidentemente ha ido evolucionando. Hemos avanzado y hemos aportado y hemos utilizado la técnica para cambiar y mejorar algunas opciones.
8 years ago, the brothers relocated. Celler De Can Roca is less than 300 meters away from their parents' bar, but couldn't be more different.
Aquí tenemos la entrada, la salida de los platos y por aquí pasamos con los platos hacia el comedor, que es un comedor en el que nos encontramos absolutamente confortables. Es un espacio que es como un bosque, en el que además tenemos la suerte de pasar como con pasillos y en el que tenemos todas las mesas mirando a este bosque, ¿no? Intentábamos buscar ese diálogo con la naturaleza, ese elemento con los orgánicos, las maderas. Sientes la madera cuando estás comiendo. Bien, nosotros tenemos una sensación de que esto es nuestra casa y nunca ha estado el restaurante sin uno de los hermanos como mínimo, ¿no? Nos gusta estar 2 hermanos como mínimo en casa y uno que viaje.
Today, Geordie is away, but even when one brother is physically absent, all 3 are here in spirit.
Hay 3 rocas de distintos tamaños intentando mostrar el mayor, el mediano y el pequeño. Jordi, yo y Joan.
This gastronomic mecca has its roots in the traditional Catalan cooking the boys grew up with.
La comida significa para mí una forma de expresar. Creo que la gastronomía es un lenguaje, ¿no? Y los cocineros tenemos la suerte de poder usar ese oficio como una forma de contar historias, de contar emociones. También la cocina es una forma de dar a conocer un territorio, de dar a conocer una cultura gastronómica.
This culinary storytelling extends to every aspect of the restaurant.
Encontrar complicidad con diseñadores, con artistas, con ceramistas, para conseguir platos especiales. Entonces hablamos con un artista que pudiera desarrollar un soporte que simularan unas algas marinas para poder colocar encima unas tapas que son unas cucharas al mismo tiempo para que el cliente pueda degustar de un solo bocado el sabor del mar, ¿no? De formas muy diversas, ¿no? Desarrollar un plato no es nada fácil. De hecho, cada vez es más complicado porque somos más exigentes, porque hay más referentes y porque es más difícil cada vez ser originales, ¿no? Con lo cual es difícil. Con lo cual un plato puede tener un proceso de un mes, de 6 meses o hasta de un año a veces, ¿no? Pero sin perder nunca de vista el sabor.
Michelin star El Celler De Can Roca in Spain is run by 3 brothers, with eldest Joan running the kitchen. To develop the menu, he has embraced cutting-edge techniques alongside traditional methods.
La cocina es ciencia, ¿no? Cada vez que transformamos un producto, estamos aplicando de alguna manera un proceso científico, físico-químico, ¿no? nos sirve a buscar otras formas de tratar el producto, otras formas de cocinar.
To help realize their culinary ambition, the brothers employ a scientist. They call him the Alchemist.
Por un lado, lo que hacemos es extraer y concentrar los aromas, ¿de acuerdo?, de cualquier tipo de recurso, tanto vegetal como animal. Esto es un equipo de extracción de aceites esenciales, ¿no?, y lo diseñamos, ¿no?, es casi un equipo de laboratorio, y lo diseñamos un poquito. El olfato está, ¿no?, internamente conectado con la memoria, ¿no?, emotiva. Creemos que a través de los aromas podemos llegar a emocionar el comensal de una forma.
In this kitchen, diners' emotions are stirred by materials not traditionally associated with food.
Esto, por ejemplo, es un extracto de lana, y lo interesante de la lana es que en este sentido mucho del queso de cabra o de oveja que nosotros comemos, pues en parte huele a esa lana. Pero también estamos trabajando con líquenes, con madera, ¿de acuerdo? Hemos hecho las primeras pruebas con cuero. Pero de todas las cosas con las que hemos trabajado, te diré que lo más raro es el ámbar gris. Y el ámbar gris es una especie de vómito, ¿de acuerdo?, de los cachalotes. Joan y Jordi, yo creo que van a utilizar este trabajo como un condimento y si no un ingrediente. Es decir, el aroma pasa a ser un elemento protagónico, ¿no?, protagonista del plato. Entonces, posibilidades infinitas.
There's been a whole shift from science and food being scary together to science and food being very interesting or exciting together. I'm seeing a whole new generation of chefs who are thinking about the mind of their diner, the science of the diner, and what sort of expectations they might have. They can combine that sort of science of the diner, the gastrophysics, with their culinary skills, and together bring about something that's kind of amazing, memorable, more stimulating than ever before.
When the alchemy is right, the results are celebrated.
Cuando conseguimos hacer un plato nuevo y realmente nos gusta, y a los tres nos gusta, que esto es lo que realmente es la prueba de fuego de un plato, que los tres digamos, ok, está bien, es una sensación, no sé, me imagino como cuando Messi marca un gol, ¿no? La sensación de euforia, ¿no? Por fin, lo conseguimos, ¿no? Porque no es fácil. Yo creo que el oficio de cocinero es una forma de vivir. Y es por eso que estamos aquí 15 o 14 o 16 horas cada día, ¿no?
Josep is as fervent as his brother about his domain, the wine cellar.
Bien, este es mi paraíso, es mi espacio. Aquí hay el lugar donde paso muchas horas. Tenemos unas más de 50.000 botellas, 3.360 referencias distintas. 45% de España y la otra es parte del mundo. Los vinos se beben, se huelen, se escuchan, pero también se pueden sentir. La cocina es un paisaje en la cazuela y el vino también es un paisaje en una copa. En todo caso, aquí esto va como hermanos.
These brothers are clearly doing something right. For 6 years, they have held the highest Michelin accolade, 3 stars. This culinary pinnacle brings its own pressure.
Cuando llegas a 3, no hay otra estrella. Lo único que puede pasar es que pierdas, ¿no? Que pierdas una, ¿no? Y que te quedes con 2 o que bajes de esas listas, ¿no? Con lo cual hay que tomar distancia de esto, hay que seguir trabajando al máximo nivel, evidentemente, porque esto es nuestra vocación, esto está en nuestro ADN. Nuestro ADN es inconformista, es competitivo.
The restaurant has 2 multi-course menus.
O te comes la historia con nuestro menú de clásicos, con platos desde el año 90 o de los 80, o lo que estamos haciendo hoy, que vivimos con el menú festival, la gastronomía del 2015. Pues estamos del 160 el de clásicos y 190 el festival. Bien, probablemente nuestro menú vale dinero, pero no es caro. Porque detrás hay 75 personas para 55 comensales, hay una materia prima que llega a más del 45% en este caso del precio.
For the 30,000 diners each year lucky enough to get a table, the high tariff is a small price to pay for modernist cuisine deemed the best in the world.
Los tres hermanos son unos soñadores, apasionados, pero de entrada el planteamiento es no existe nada imposible si lo sueñas grande.
El secreto del éxito del Celler De Can Roca es el trabajo. Es el trabajo, el trabajo, el trabajo. Y también, en nuestro caso, la buena relación entre nosotros tres.
Estamos viendo aquí, cumplimos un sueño, una obsesión que ahora es realidad.
Yo creo que estamos en un camino bonito, un camino maravilloso que nos ha hecho mejorar cosas, pero no somos perfectos, ni mucho menos, todavía queda mucho camino por recorrer.
When you think of the Michelin Guide, Japan might not spring to mind. Yet its restaurants together have more stars than in any other country. Lake Toya is over 600 miles and a world away from Tokyo. Here is a rural community in the shadow of active volcanoes. This is a place full of surprises. For on a hill, towering over the tractors, is a hotel like a fortress from Star Wars. The Windsor is a 5-star golf resort and spa. This vast hotel boasts no less than 3 Michelin-starred restaurants. One of them, the quintessentially French, Brastoya. In 2012, Brastoya was awarded 3 Michelin stars. One of the criteria for the guide's highest award is that a restaurant warrants a special trip.
It's a huge hotel in the middle of nowhere, in the countryside. So guests have to plan their journey to come here. Some of them come from Tokyo, so they have to take a flight. You have to take 2 hours train. It's a long journey.
The restaurant is not a place diners might arrive at by accident. Though when they do, the panorama alone makes the journey worthwhile.
All the tables face the lake, so they have one of the most beautiful views in the world. We don't need to have any picture on the wall. Yeah, the nature talks by itself.
The view does play a huge role in the meal and is very exciting. It's not necessarily going to make the food better, but if you're sitting somewhere for several hours and it's beautiful, it definitely gives you a wonderful experience.
Cédric Bourassin heads up the kitchen for Michel Bras, a world-renowned chef whose original restaurant is in Layolle in France.
Michel Bras, for me, is a genius. He's very famous because he's using a lot of vegetables. The cooking style is a bit lighter.
Michel was invited to bring his brand of classic French cooking to this remote part of Japan in 2002.
Japanese people are interested with Michel cooking because I think Michel Bras corresponds to their culture a bit. I mean, Michel is someone humble, simple, quiet, And when you see Japanese people in the street, they are like this as well. They are not showing off. I think it's a good match between Japan and Michel Brass.
Whether here or in France, where Michel's first restaurant opened 23 years ago, his hallmark is local produce.
This restaurant is a French fine dining. My goal here is to reproduce the cooking style of France with the local ingredients.
Michel Brastoya is a sophisticated French restaurant in rural Japan. The ingredients for this fine French cuisine are sourced locally in Hokkaido, Japan's farming capital. For chef Cédric Bourassin, localism is key.
They are very good producer in Hokkaido.
We have few ingredients from France, like foie gras. There is no foie gras in Japan. But it doesn't make sense for us to bring a fish from France. Here, you get the fresh fish every morning. So, and in Japan, the quality of fish, meats, vegetables are amazing. So I would like to say 80% of our ingredients are coming from Japan. And for me, it's very important.
A key feature of the food offering here is something no self-respecting French restaurant could ever do without, whatever country it is in.
Giving the bread at the beginning of the meal is French. And for French people, it's so important. So we make for each table some bread and we put actually the name of the guest on it. And they do appreciate that. And we have to take the picture with their mobile phone and to just put it on Facebook or straight away today, look, I'm in Michel Brastoya Japan restaurant and look what they did for us, the bread with my name. And when a guest wait a month to get his table, to have a dinner, is expecting something special. And I think it starts with that kind of things.
These special touches are not unique to Michel Brastoya. All are meticulously modelled on his original restaurant in the village of Layolle in France.
They have to have the same style. It's the same name, same cuisine, and why not the same service or the same standard of mise en place? I'm in charge of this place to keep the same quality, Layolle, Toya, and same way to work.
From the hanging chainmail curtain to the running water, and from the tablecloths
Michel didn't want it to have a cloth who goes right to the floor. You can see that looks a bit more modern than the French classic fine dining restaurant.
To the cutlery.
So his idea wanted first to put all in one side to make it his own style. And of course, after he designed the table rest and he put just 3 cutlery, just 1 knife, 1 fork, and 1 spoon. And even on the table rest, you can see, precise, nice, and I would say simple as well.
The dressing of a table is a matter of subtlety. Where it's simply done to give you a rather elegant, clear space in which to enjoy your food, and it's done with taste and it's done with a clear vision of what you're trying to do, it's a lovely thing.
This warm starter, Gago of young vegetables, is Michel Brass's most famous dish. It has been a favourite for nearly 40 years.
Definitely, this is our signature dish.
Des légumes, mon cher, le secret de la longévité. Des légumes,
all the vegetables cooked separately in a different way, cut in a different way as well.
This isn't just any old salad. It takes a team of up to 6 people, 2 hours to put this one dish on a diner's table.
ガルグ油は、野菜とハーブ、こちらでやってるハーブも含めて全部で100種類ぐらいですね。全て北海道とあと地元のそういう農家さんに作っていただいた野菜を使ってます。
As a gargouille, it's a beautiful dish because it changes every day, depending to the market, from the seasons, and according as well to the maturity of the vegetable. So aromatic herbs are not the same every day. Flowers are changing, so you can come Monday to Sunday, you will eat something different. Each vegetable are cut in a special way. Same for the aromatic herbs. You know, for lovage, if you cut a too big piece of lovage, it's going to be a bit aggressive when you bite it. So you need to be gentle. Every bite is unique. You never eat twice the same vegetable. That makes this dish magic.
It's magic many try to emulate.
Michel Brasse is well known all over the world from this dish. So it's like a brand. And a lot of people copy this dish all over the world.
It's very hard to come up with a truly original dish. Prior to the 1980s, chefs didn't come up with original dishes. Then with the introduction of nouvelle cuisine, it became about creating your own dishes. And that's where the battleground now lies. Can you create a truly unique dish which is not derivative of somebody else's?
We try to give a bit of emotion to the guest and to reproduce the soul of France.
Enjoying the soul of France through the 8-course tasting menu costs around $250. It's a similar price in the Mother restaurant in France. Though here in Japan, 6,000 miles away, there are some cultural differences.
If you compare France to Japan, the portion in Japan are smaller. We have to be gentle with salt as well, because in Europe we eat a lot with salt, but in Japan not. It's keeping us under pressure and improving ourselves every day.
Japanese people eat earlier than French people, so which means that we open at dinner time at 6 o'clock, which is not even possible in Europe.
The thing is amazing in Japan, people, they respect the time of booking. That means when they say I arrive at 6 p.m., they are here at 6:00, you know, and when they were at 6:30, they are here at 6:30. So it's very, very good for us.
知識という意味で言いますと、私たちのお店に来るようなお客様は西洋の方と今はそれほど変わらないように思っています。詳しい方もたくさんいらっしゃいますし、ただですね、傾向としましては日本人の方はあんまり風味の強いものよりは繊細なものを料理と合わせるのが好きなように感じておりますし。
Over half the restaurant's guests are from Japan. The rest come from all over the globe, gastro-tourists who will travel the world for a gastronomic treat.
2 weeks ago, we had a couple come from Bangkok, and they just make a reservation just to come at Michel Brasse restaurant. In fact, they come in Japan not for Japan, they come in Japan for us. So we are very happy.
In 2008, the restaurant hosted a different kind of diner when the world's political leaders assembled in Toya for the 34th G8 summit.
Michel came especially to create a special menu for these top leaders of the world and to try to show the Brasse philosophy and the spirit of the restaurant.
首相たちにはサービスすることはございませんでしたが、ファーストレディーの方々には接客をさせていただきました。ですね、自分が生まれ育った北海道という土地でサミットが行われたことは非常に光栄で、ハッピーなことでしたし、そしてG8の方々ですね、大きい国アメリカや、そして日本の 首相もそうですし、イギリスの大統領なども来ていただいたのは非常に覚えております。
Another Michel Brass signature dish is the coulon, a biscuit-like cake with a liquid filling. Desserts here are about indulgence and fun.
At the end of the meal, we bring a trolley with cones, and it's very playful.
So impressive for the guests. I mean, when you bring that big trolley to the room, the people are, wow, look at that. And they just, next table, they say, oh, I hope I'm gonna have it. I hope I'm gonna, you can hear it sometimes, you're serving the guests with the mousses, sorbet, and ice cream, and they're like, oh, I hope I'm gonna have it. So sometimes I go through the table and say, I'm sorry, no, it's not part of your menu. And they're like, oh, I say, no, of course it's for everybody. So I try to make people happy and laughing.
There is always and forever an element of performance to a manager's job and to a restaurant performance in order to deliver this amazing experience, this amazing and memorable experience that the guest is looking for all the time.
We're not going on that way to be the best, to be like the best restaurant in the world or no. It's not our spirit. What we just do is make sure that every day we're good on what we do, with a smile, of course, and that's it.
If you are not passionate, you cannot do this job, definitely. It's much more than a job. In fact, it's an honor. It's really a pleasure to work in Japan. I'm very lucky.
Las Vegas, billed as the entertainment capital of the world. Famous for its lights, shows, and gambling. With many of the world's largest hotels on this 4-mile strip, nothing here is understated. Sin City has been the playground for the rich and famous for well over half a century. Many big stars have performed here, from Sinatra to Celine Dion, and Prince to Penn and Teller. This is not a place traditionally associated with high-end cuisine, but one culinary heavyweight is changing that.
Good evening. Welcome to Robuchon.
Nestled among the slot machines in the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino is a restaurant that has held the maximum 5 diamonds from AAA since 2006 and has been awarded 3 Michelin stars. This is Joël Robuchon.
In this particular restaurant, what I think we do the best is no compromise.
There's certainly an opulent luxury to it.
My mission here is make the guest happy when they leave a restaurant.
French chef Joël Robuchon has 18 restaurants in 9 countries, between them bearing 27 Michelin stars.
Chef Robuchon has been named by Gago the chef of the century, which is absolutely amazing. He has, obviously, the most Michelin stars in the world, and I think in the history of Michelin.
Mr. Robuchon, for me, is a king of the cuisine. You know, he's always looking for something new, for something better. He's never finished with it.
With so many restaurants bearing his name, Joël Robuchon has to choose carefully who leads his teams. At the helm here in Las Vegas is executive chef Claude Le Touic.
Ça marche, 3 couverts. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 4 courses.
The philosophy of the restaurant is like conviviality. You know, we want to make people feeling good in the restaurant with good ambience. 5 kilos, huh? That's very important. Good ambience. Let's make your experience even better. But one thing is we stay French. You know, it's a French style.
This restaurant opened in Vegas in 2006, offering high rollers a luxurious refuge from the brashness of the Strip.
When you're coming into this restaurant, we try and take you away from the casino. We try and take you away from the gambling, the music. It's really a different atmosphere here. The main goal for us is when you step into this restaurant, that you transport into not only a different place, but a different time.
I do think decor, if it's beautiful, makes a dining experience that much more wonderful, that much more exciting.
The main focal point of the room will be our chandelier, which is Swarovski handmade crystal, and it was actually designed for this room specifically once we had the dimensions of the room. So really a unique piece. In the center of the room, a nice divider with a banquette on either side, which really separates the interior of the main dining room, offset by a small fireplace, which really adds warmth, which is obviously always needed in a desert. So we have this, it's really a nice touch. You'll notice the color scheme currently is black and between yellow and a very light green. Just past me, you'll find our indoor terrace, live plant wall. All of the plants therein are actually alive, so it really is wonderful atmosphere for people to step into. Again, completely a step away from a desert and a casino. None of these plants would survive long at all in the climate outdoors. The way this place was decorated, it was really created to feel like a 1920s Parisian-style mansion. And for us, if time can stop when you walk through the doors, then I think that we've done a good job. From the moment you're seated, you're ours. This restaurant has a traditional essence to it. It does embody the belief in the culture of traditional French cuisine. But at the same time, we have Chef Robuchon, who really enjoys taking what's been traditional and really infusing it with a modern approach, a very new cuisine, which he continues to develop.
The man dubbed the godfather of modern cuisine has created a 17-course tasting menu, some courses delivered together, tapas style.
It's very modern cuisine, mixed with traditional. We want to be focused on flavor. After that, we go on a presentation, looking good. We provide something very unique, exceptional.
Perfection itself is unattainable, but we can continue to strive for that. And I think that that's really the attitude that Chef Robuchon embodies and the attitude that he's given to all of his chefs as well as all of us.
Top-class food requires top-class ingredients. Each delivery is minutely inspected.
It's all about the detail. Our first job is to make sure that each ingredient will reach the kitchen are perfect. If not, we send it back. At this level of the cuisine, it's the detail who make the difference between something good and something very good, exceptional. You have to look about all the data. If you understand that, you get a good chance to be a good chef.
This fanatical attention to detail results in one of the most expensive menus in North America.
The main menu of the restaurant is our menu dégustation, which is really the highlight. I mean, this is the menu that attracts people from across the world to come to this restaurant and dine. And that menu itself is currently at $445 per person. We also have a few smaller options, a few prix-fixe menus, which range from 2 to 6 courses. And those allow guests to customize the menu based on their own appetite, first and foremost, but then also based on their palate, what they'd like to enjoy. We want people to be able to come and enjoy this type of experience, regardless of whether they're millionaires or not.
Amazingly, the man with 27 Michelin stars to his name has turned the humble potato into one of his signature dishes. Mash. With lots of butter. A dish Joël developed in his first restaurant in Paris in the 1980s. This pomme puree has since become a must-have in all his restaurants.
I always hear this comment, you know, oh, we love mashed potatoes. I don't want dessert, I just want mashed potatoes at dessert.
The restaurant's luxurious mash can be washed down by the offerings of an even more lavish wine list.
Wine pairings that we offer with our menus, especially for our degustation tasting menu, we offer 3 different tier options. We have it in price tiers of $295, $595, and then what we call Grand Cru tier at $995 per person.
You have to think of this in terms of buying memories. I have friends who will happily spend £500 to go and see their team lose at the rugby in Paris, for example, and all they'll get is a memory of bitter resentment. If you spend that sort of money in a restaurant, you at least get a good meal as well. And what you are buying is the memory of an experience, a moment of pure indulgence.
The rarest wine on our wine list will be the Chateau Cheval Blanc 1947, and the price for this would be just shy of $30,000 US. There is a difference between a $25 wine and a $25,000 wine. It is in the flavors, in the quality, maybe in the story behind it, and the overall rarity. It's like a sports car. You know, you can get to your destination with any car, but do you want to go there in style?
The restaurant's well-heeled guests get service that is attentive and meticulous.
So you can just slice the outside, and then you can literally With regard to the style of service, I think the style is extremely always right side up. That way the guest can see the skin. Detailed. If you finish that cut, then the front cut will be extremely simple. We will be very hands-on, and we will have carving stations set up tableside to allow and invite our guests into the actual visual stimulation of a restaurant of this caliber. So here we serve fingerling potatoes.
Guéridon service is when you wheel a trolley next to a table, and it's about bringing the dishes to life to the guest. But there's one thing, it's not about selling, it's about sharing. It's about sharing what you have, and it's about sharing it with art and with kindness. And it's making sure that people trust you when you explain the dish, so that if you say it's good, the guest knows it's good and they can trust you.
The food is what people write about. The service is what people remember. And if we can marry excellent food with excellent service, then we have really hit on what we are attempting to do. Here we step to 3 of our trolleys, which are really the Guéridon for which we're really known. The first of which is our butter trolley. We have our butter, which is hand-churned, comes from Brittany, France, and we'll actually curl this off tableside for each of the guests, finish it with a little fleur de sel. And some would say that the following trolley is of even more importance than the butter. Here we have our bread trolley, all made by our own Robuchon baker, who we brought in from France specially for this. Everything from mini croissants to bacon bread. Following that, the next one, this is our mignardises trolley. Mignardises are a selection of small bites, essentially, and for the most part, it's a sweet dish. Being in Las Vegas, we definitely have to really make a spectacle of everything that we do have to present.
Entertainment is ultimately what Las Vegas is about, and if we can fulfill that premium end, that is our part of the role to play.
People who want to come here is because they want something exceptional. They want to remember. They don't want to have a dinner. They want to have a dinner plus. We always make sure when they leave the restaurant, they say, wow. Not saying, it was good, thank you. No, it says, wow, it's something, you know, special. That's what we want.
Once you've already finished your meal and you think you're stuffed, we'll give you just a little bit more.